to the $300 minimum 4v4 search and destroy here on January 2nd of 2018. Yes, a new year as we're hopping in here for our first kind of broadcasted tournament of 2018. We appreciate you guys for, of course, joining us. Now hopping into our second series of the night, taking place between WestR and PureTalent. Both these squads definitely kind of heavy favorites coming in to the $300 minimum. But looking on here, it looks like Jintroid for the side of WestR, currently finding himself now in a 1 versus 2. But hot on his tracks is Tarzan. Doesn't, I don't believe, spot him there in that situation. So Jintroid at least has some time to work with and does have the element of surprise, but has to be aware of the positioning where the opposite team could definitely be lingering. PureTalent locking down top red as well as back farm, and it looks like he should be dropping it any time you'd like to imagine. Takes out Tarzan, and there's not going to be enough time to grab the defuse, but aHTracT just needs to play the time correctly, and he should be able to do so, and does get the kill along with it. So successful round there found for the boys on PureTalent, as you'll be able to witness here. aHTracT playing, like I said, the time very, very well. Get the bomb down and on an opposite side. This is a play that we get to see on St. Marie du Mont from time to time. For those who are familiar with this particular map, normally we're going to be seeing B pushes galore. That bomb site over toward Radio Tower is going to be attacked about 9 times out of 10. And what you do is, whenever you attack the opposite bomb site, the least favorite of the two, especially in a situation like St. Marie du Mont, where things are definitely a lot more lopsided when it comes into bomb site attacks, you can definitely kind of put in the defensive team's mind every single round after you make an offside push is that, hey, we have to be wary of this team. We have to be wary of the fact that, hey, there's always a possibility where they can make an opposite play, kind of fool us in some cases. So for future defensive rounds, that's always going to be in the back of the enemy's mind. But bomb does get grabbed there from Frostyyy as a unsuccessful beginning to that B-bomb site push. Does not work out for them. And now left to try to pick up the pieces as the STG currently in the hands of Frostyyy. Getting hit markers there onto HollyDizz, but should have some teammate support. Yes, coming in there from Tarzan. And now Jintroid, 1 versus 3, bomb down, and probably the worst position possible inside of the middle of the street. Definitely a no man's land. He is currently, or was, the LMS, aka the last man standing, as Cora Dunn used to say back in BO1. But Ryan Swan here, picking up the final kill for the boys on PureTalent. So locking down successfully on B, and we'll see what their next attack is to do here on offense. And being up 2-0 in the round, do they make the awkward push toward A again, or do they try to go for things pretty much standard? It wouldn't be out of the culture to kind of see them go back toward, or to kind of rush toward B, but no. Looks like we're going to see another A hit. And it looks like the only player who's going to be in a position to stop this could be, yes, Return, who does get stunned. His position is known, and here comes the nade to greet him just outside of lookout post. There's the first blood, and now player number 6. Frostyyy has just taken out his teammate Jintroid. SSaggioo now 1 versus 4, and it looks as if 2 successful A pushes could be the case, but SSaggioo left to try and do it all. Spots Tarzan up top ready. He has to take Tarzan out of this position if he wants to win the round. And unfortunately for him, that's one of the first players that he greets. And also says goodbye to. As you see Tarzan shooting through the wall there. Nice wall bang there to secure the first round on the board for the guys. Or not, actually, that wasn't the first round. Excuse me, the third round game for the guys on PureTalent. As speaking of hot starts, we do see Tarzan 4-1, Ryan Swan, excuse me, now up to 5-1. As we're going to be on board here with the offensive attacking squad. We'll be returned with the bomb in hand. It looks like Jintroid gets greeted with a nade, was about to hop on toward his perspective, but can't even get anything done. Nice pre-nade there coming in from aHTracT. That's totally going to limit the offensive team. Why? Because they are immediately get put to a halt. And now we find ourselves in a 1 versus 1. Big one that has to be found here from SSaggioo, you like to imagine. Quickly escapes out of that B-bomb site, and now it's a game of choice. It's a game where SSaggioo gets to decide how this round's fate will go. As it looks like Ryswan, still being aware of that B-bomb site, has a decent line of sight, and honestly, hit one of his best positions that he can grab is top red at this moment. And probably being aware that SSaggioo could also be lingering there. Has an STG, probably the preferred weapon up close, you like to imagine, in certain situations, maybe even the bar. I've been hearing the bar is it's nasty up close in the in certain players' hands. But now it's a pre-aim battle. SSaggioo. Does Rice1 have... no, he does not have Mountain on, so his footsteps could be loud, and SSaggioo has to be careful as they are right around the corner from each other. SSaggioo, does he hear him? Does he hear him is the question. Rice1, no, not able to get it. I thought that the sneak defuse was going to happen right behind his back. It is not, though. SSaggioo probably with about a second and a half of grace time, had he not checked around that corner, would have probably been a Reddit post, to be fair. So, big round victory. Of course, the fourth one takes them 4 rounds to grab at least one, but better late than never. As we'll see what they can now do when it comes down to defense. As we've been talking about the successful A pushes for the offensive team currently, but it looks like they're making a push toward B, and you see the defensive team pretty scrambled right now. 2 players toward A, 2 players toward B, and this is what I'm talking about. Whenever you make a push toward an opposite bomb site, one that's not favorable, you're going to totally start to scramble that defensive team. But it's a sacrifice that you have to make. It's a sacrifice that could definitely kind of put things in an awkward stance, or can end up making you have a hot lead. As Tarzan really just needs to find one of these gunfights, but isn't able to find either. So as Tarzan drops, it's now up to aHTracT. Try to get some damage done, but him and HollyDizz are now trapped inside of the B bomb site. The pre-aim, one gets found. aHTracT, though, finds one, can't find the second, and Jintroid will be there to clean things up. SSaggioo now on a 4 spree will earn streaks easily off of this defuse. That's something to kind of keep in mind as a comeback is starting to make its appearance. It's this man here who's got the streaks now to work with. And so in the back of PureTalent's mind, they're going to have to be aware that those streaks could come in at any moment. And on offense, it wouldn't be strange whatsoever if we see an A push get made with these streaks. And the reason why we actually see them making their way toward A is that you imagine, how do streaks work? Well, a lot of times you want to use streaks in open areas. It's a lot easier to use the glide bomb, especially the fighter pilot. So why not go to the more open bomb site, one that's not totally limited? And here come the streaks from SSaggioo, the glide bomb, coming in even before the plant goes through. Doesn't find any kills, but Frosty takes that one on HollyDizz. We're actually going to take a look at the classes. So you see, besides aHTracT, at least two out of 3 players who were up both had Mountain on. You see aHTracT being in that top right position. Probably the reason why he has Airborne on and doesn't have Mountain, as he does get dropped there. And the reason why, like I said, the reason why he probably has and is the player sitting inside of top red is because he's rocking Airborne. So, of course, when it comes for streaks, if you have Mountain on, it does obviously take your position away from streaks. And so with him sitting in that and sitting inside of top red, as the streaks come in, granted his position is known, but the streaks cannot affect him most likely. So that was the reason why he was currently sitting in that position. But 3 rounds in a row, actually, toward the opposite side, WestR starting to catch fire. That's definitely been off the back of SSaggioo, currently sitting at 7-3, playing incredibly sound at the moment, as he could potentially find a first blood, but no pushes being made over toward that A side. In fact, it's a free bomb site on B. How often does this happen, actually? Jintroid and Frosty, though, taking out 2, an immediate 2-on-3, and Rice1 watching the flank. I like this position, actually. Besides the very back building, he has just about everything covered on the flank, but the flank, nothing currently in that position. You see the bait and switches coming out. aHTracT probably wants to find a head glitch in the situation, but not a whole lot of time to move, and Rice1 will drop as well. SSaggioo and co. winning 4 rounds in a row, as it was an early 3-0 lead for the guys on PureTalent. As we'll see how close Jintroid can get. Looks like Frosty not on streak. SSaggioo still has 2 to work with. And now WestR are in a fantastic spot right now. You got to be thinking, right? Because we talk about the round count. I mean, it was a fantastic lead from PureTalent, but I don't believe they have anything to really show of it beside the overall score total. Yeah, they have no streaks, nothing that they've earned prior. But looking on now, we'll see what the guys who are currently hot right now from WestR do. They're making their way toward A, and they've got a free bomb site as well. You see all 4 players from PureTalent focusing on B, when in reality, that's not the case whatsoever. They're going to give Jintroid the free bomb plant, and also he earned streaks. SSaggioo coming from the skies at least knows of some players' positionings, but aHTracT is able to find one inside of top red. At the same time, Frostyyy comes through with the nade, 3 versus 3, and Frostyyy trying to come around the corner. Can he find the second frag as well? Tarzan in his line side drops him. The mortar strike coming in. Player number 2 falls, and just like that, it's another round victory here from the guys on WestR, as I believe they've won 5 rounds in a row. And they have got plenty of streaks to work with now. And I think it honestly has really been off the back of SSaggioo in the situation, right? You see him at 9-4, Frostyyy at 8-5. And look at these streak earn rates from a lot of these guys. Jintroid with 2. Frostyyy nearly at least 1 streak. I mean, even if they lose this round, if they can maybe guarantee 1 player to get close to streaks, or maybe have a player stay alive at a 1 versus 1 if they can't get the defuse, I mean, they're looking good. They're looking fantastic. It's as if that 3-round victory lead at the beginning doesn't even matter. They just totally turned the tide of the St. Marie Dumas match, and it looks like you see HollyDizz's perspective. Is that all 4 found with the fighter pilot? We need to watch this one again. Frostyyy coming in from above takes out at least, what, 1, 2, maybe even 3? The 3-piece from Frostyyy in the fighter pilot. I mean, this run literally had no chance if you're in PureTalent's point of view. Literally no chance whatsoever. They're pulling on a Vince McMahon here. No chance. None at all. But solid plays coming in from the guys on WestR as they corral and are able to win 6 rounds in a row. You see Frostyyy ending things down 11-5, SSaggioo at 9-4. I mean, just generally, it was a matter of we saw the guys on PureTalent play incredibly sound. We see them added 2 out of the 3 offensive rounds for them at the beginning. They make their way toward A. Looking pretty successful, right? They were playing incredibly sound. You saw the guys, at least from WestR, kind of on the back foot, not really sure exactly what to do. Their defensive positions weren't really the best. We saw aHTracT's pre-nades onto that B bomb site over toward radio tower. I mean, everything was just kind of working out as if they're going to win this one like a 6-2, maybe a 6-3. Like I said, they're having a great start. They're using the streaks correctly. They're attacking the opposite bomb sites. But, I mean, honestly, it was just the guys on PureTalent. I mean, really, it was SSaggioo who was using the streaks incredibly well. Like, him earning those streaks, staying alive was huge for them because due to that streak, I think, honestly, it kind of put in the back of PureTalent's minds always that they could be attacked at any moment. So they start to play a bit more passively. SSaggioo starts to earn streaks. We see Frostyyy start to earn streaks here, there toward the end, obviously. And it was just a matter of them kind of bouncing from round to round to round, kind of catching fire. And like I said, even in Search and Destroy, not just the respawns, can you kind of start to catch that kind of early signal of momentum. And now when we talk about momentum as well, we talk about map number 2, Search and Destroy on London Docks. I mean, if there's any map that you want to kind of have with momentum leading into map number 2, I think it's kind of fair to say that London Docks is probably the map that you want to have that on. Why? Because we talk about London Docks with the SMG play, how fast rounds can kind of be made on London Docks. I mean, we talk about the SMG presence, the STG-44 being brought up from a lot of the guys on WestR. I mean, I think personally, this is probably their best map that they probably could have had, at least from a momentum standpoint, to have for map number 2, just because, like I said, how fast these rounds can kind of come into play. We talk about the streaks, the earn rates on from this group of map number 1. I mean, like I said, they played incredibly sound. They played very, very strong. And this was a group who actually, I believe at least a few players, I think it was SSaggioo, Return, and Frostyyy, who played in one of our 4v4 Search and Destroy tournaments, I think it was a few nights ago. And they actually played on this exact map, had a number of different scenarios where they actually ended up going up 5 rounds to 1, and ended up choking a lead on this exact map at St. Marie Dumas. So they've played this map quite a bit. They're used to what it feels like to kind of being down and around, or kind of being up and kind of choking a lead. So it's nice to see them on the opposite end, actually making a decent comeback. Welcome back, everyone, of course, to the $300 minimum 4v4 Search and Destroy, of course, here on January 2nd. We've got WestR. We've got PureTalent. It's now time for some London Docks here on map number 2. Speaking in kind of giving a little bit of an outlier as to how this series has kind of progressed itself to a map number 2. It was the guys on WestR who were able to corral and win 6 rounds in a row after being down 3-0 on map 1. Of course, they won that one 6 rounds to 3 in total, and are now find themselves at a 1-0 advantage. Keeping in mind these are best of 3s, so winning one map obviously grants you that big advantage. And greeting close and personal fights as Frostyyy is able to find one with the STG, able to pick up an easy kill there onto Ryswan there, to grab another round there in the books for the guys on WestR. As it was Frostyyy who had a solid performance in map number 1, along with SSaggioo. Finished off 11 total kills. And like I said, when it comes into London Docks, if there was a map to kind of take that momentum and just overall progress it, it would be this one. With the quick rounds, a lot of fast-paced fights, the SMGs, maybe even a sniper rifle from long range can definitely grant you a lot of success. We see a typical smoke onto this A bomb site just to kind of limit the AR or sniper players from afar. To kind of secure the bomb planter. Getting inside 10. As the player gets spaced out, Tarzan checking every single corner, and I like him progressing toward the second one. Spots the dolphin dive from, I believe, Jintroid. And it looks like Ryswan is able to take out SSaggioo. At the same time, Jintroid trades one. There's Tarzan for the equal trade. But coming from both sides, you see player number 4 and player number 1 watching both point of views. And as soon as return spots the bomb plant going down, he should be able to win this one, but no, Tarzan takes him out. And now Frostyyy is left in a pretty awkward scenario. He's got a sniper rifle and 2 players who are in close quarter range. What does he do in this spot? How does he retake the site? I mean, he's not going to be expecting, I believe that was Tarzan just sitting outside of 10 in that particular scenario. But a big win coming in from Tarzan as he takes down both players at the end of this round. But that one on return, I mean, that was Return's fight to win. I think Return was just kind of hoping maybe he could get some hit markers kind of through that fence, but I believe you can't actually get any through that whatsoever, even if FMJ was used. But regardless, isn't able to find it. It kind of swings the 2v2 into obviously to a 2 versus 1. Last player's a sniper rifle, and especially when it kind of comes down to 10, not a player who can really play a major factor, which is a sniper rifle in hand. But looking on, Frosty and Co. from WestR back on offense. Make their way inside of the B-bomb. And it looks like a 3-man flank being made currently for the boys now on PureTalent. As the roles have definitely kind of reversed. Defense on the offensive side and so on and so forth. As HollyDizz could definitely get in the fight here with Frosty, whose reaction is faster. Frosty does get the hit markers, so take your pick as to who had the faster reaction time in total. The player who escaped or the player who got the shots on at the beginning. Re-engage. Trade happens. Jintroid and SSaggioo, 2 versus 2, but keeping in mind, SSaggioo coming through fire. Tarzan's not going to expect this, and he drops. HollyDizz at the same time does as well. And so with that, WestR does secure a second round. As we'll watch Jintroid take down HollyDizz sitting inside of Closet. It was kind of an interesting round there. We kind of see the offensive team kind of rush through that site. It was a little bit too easy almost for them. They were kind of looking outside of bus and we're like, okay, I guess there's no more defenders kind of outside here of B, but opposite team flanks through coal room and it doesn't work out for them. So full-on flank doesn't seem successful as Frosty still playing incredibly sound along with his teammate sitting through cut. I believe that's player number 4 or player number player number 4 return. Sitting through mid-cut, ends up dropping. And generally, you're pretty happy with that. I think it's fair to say. If you're in Return's point of view, limiting as much as the offense and kind of trying to tear away at that clock, I mean, you're pretty happy with the trade in that particular scenario. Being on defense, like I said, your time is absolutely in your favor. I think Return would probably take that same gunfight and wouldn't mind dying every single time. So advantage definitely toward the guys on WestR as fights going down. The snipe from afar happens, and now Tarzan and Ryswan are definitely left in a awkward spot because I don't believe they have a smoke. They have no way to kind of get on that A bomb site with at least giving some position away. Tarzan does find a kill on SSaggioo as he backs up, kind of fades away from fire, and now focuses attention onto B. And this is the site where if you are on the guys from WestR, you got to be imagining that this push is most likely being made. You realize the weapons that you have. And Tarzan narrowly able to escape. Frosty, running with that sniper rifle, was ready to take out Tarzan at any moment. But 1 versus 2, Tarzan playing very, very well, despite only a 1-round victory. 7-2 right now. Could make it 9-2. Spots out Jintroid. Can he find the gunfight? Does. And now Frosty left in a position to challenge. He does not have the time on his side. Does he go for the sneak defuse? Or does he try to seek out where Tarzan could be hiding? Coming from the corner, Tarzan checking the bomb site, realizes that it's free, and does a sprint toward his left. And Tarzan's going to secure this round regardless of how the gunfight goes. Frosty will secure it. And it's really just a matter of progressing towards streak to this moment. As it will be the guys on PureTalent now equaling things out to a 2-on-2. As far as round count, of course, is considered. But very well played out there from Tarzan in a 1-on-2 spot. Kind of realized the position at hand, kind of through the kill feed, kind of through the callouts. Realizes that Frosty had a sniper in hand. And I'm kind of surprised from the guys on WestR that they don't really early challenge that B-bomb site, being aware that, hey, they know that I have a sniper rifle. It's not that I just fired a bullet. I mean, I literally killed his teammate right before this. So, play together. Obviously didn't work out in that situation. B-bomb site definitely preferred. For the offensive team is Jintroid's aim just not there at that point of view. Frosty ends up following it just like that. Another round there toward the guys on PureTalent. As they hold strong, as you see RySwan picking up 2 here in the Bronze Star, a.k.a. the final kill cam. As they had success on B last round, they do it again. As this round playing out much differently. For the second map, excuse me, playing out a lot differently than the first one on St. Marie. We definitely saw a swing of momentum. Things definitely starting to be more evened out. And it looks like PureTalent could be making their way toward A, and you notice smoke gets tossed out. The reason being, anyone could be lingering back there. Maybe a Frosty could be hiding. SSaggioo actually enters into this one, and you've got to be imagining from SSaggioo's point of view, there's got to be at least 2 players. One probably planting, who could have a head glitch, and one probably in that window who could be looking and staring you down. But regardless, challenges, loses his life, and now the defensive team is left at a man disadvantage. And I like this positioning coming in from Tarzan. I mean, granted, his team obviously has full control over the site, but he has so much leverage. He has such great map positioning. I mean, this is just like a bait and switch like heaven right at this moment. And you see Frosty, he's probably going to try to get out of this position, if not try to challenge, wait for a teammate. Return ends up falling, and if Jintroid drops, yeah, this round is not going to go Tarzan, or not going to go his way. Tarzan and the guys on PureTalent just definitely have way better overall control. But I think it really kind of comes down in that round from WestR. Pretty sloppy defense in that particular case. I'm not sure that SSaggioo realizes how many players are rushing on toward 10. The smoke kind of comes in, and you've seen the guys on WestR kind of, or you see the guys on PureTalent kind of throw that smoke as a bait, and maybe that kind of worked out in their favor in that round. SSaggioo maybe tries to go for a challenge, one that's, you know, a little bit risky, but in the end goes for it regardless. Could be that little bit of you know, you hate to say it, but definitely could be the confidence coming in after being up 1-0 in this best of 3. But different, much different offensive rounds here for both teams. As we see Jintroid and co right now on WestR, making their way toward B. Kills happening. Man disadvantage right now for the offensive team, but Frosty finds a big kill. They're on to Tarzan. And you see SSaggioo watching the flank. And Frosty just really has to be aware, most likely, of either that front bus side or of that mid cut. And they're going to go for the plant. Player number 6 could definitely play spoils. And SSaggioo is not watching the point of view that he needs to. The worst time to not check your flank, but HollyDizz isn't able to find the gunfight. At least is able to drop one. The trade comes through, and now Frosty has at least somewhat of a position to know where RySwan is. 1 versus 1, Frosty with the advantage. RySwan has to go for the defuse here. And I don't believe he spots where Frosty is. But he at least advances his position. And I like the play from Frosty to kind of stay alive, but at the same time, he makes things a little bit awkward. So it is going to work out for him in this situation. Frosty is going to secure this round, regardless if RySwan is able to win it. And if you're Frosty, you want to stay alive. Just going to secure those streaks. And that is a pretty bad challenge from RySwan in that scenario. Very bad challenge. I mean, granted, I don't want to say it's a bad. It's hard to kind of decipher that round, because if you're in RySwan's point of view, you're in a 1 versus 1. Maybe you're not super aware of the other players' kind of ability to earn streaks. But a 1v1 like that, you kind of give it away already. The bomb obviously explodes. Maybe he's trying to challenge it before the bomb explodes, or something like that. Not exactly sure why, but regardless, a pretty easy kill. Frosty's just waiting with the pre-aim. And maybe was hoping in that 50-50 scenario that he checks the opposite end, but obviously now Frosty has got streaks. And that's been the main reason why we saw WestR make the comeback that they did in that first game. The reason why they were able to secure 6 rounds in a row. However, a much different plan as PureTalent absolutely mowed down the side of WestR. As Frostyyy in the back lines gets taken out quick. As Tarzan quite literally comes storming in toward 10 and grabs that round number 5. Tarzan, 13-4, playing incredibly strong right now. And of course, one of the major factors is the reason why they had the lead that they do. Smoke push being made toward the A site. Trades happening. Tarzan ends up falling, and now Jintroid is trying to catch a little bit of a position to try to get on that plant. And Return is going for the challenge. And honestly, while taking on Rice one, he's also going to find the second one potentially as well. At least is able to get the communication, but at long range, the machine pistol going to work as Return takes out the final 2. As just when we start to say that PureTalent might have map number 2 in the bag, WestR, and in quotes Return, quite literally is making one. As now heading into this round number 10, it will be the boys from PureTalent on the offense. Pre-nades being made toward B. Trying to distract the enemy, as at least they've got one player pretty interested, which is going to be Frostyyy. And that interest could definitely go his way. But keeping in mind, as soon as Frostyyy gets at least somewhat of an awareness on these players rushing forward, it wouldn't be odd at all to maybe call on those streaks, maybe have a teammate try to flank around through Cold Room. And that's, I think, what we're going to see Frostyyy do. He's trying to stay alive. He's going to call on the streaks here. And if there was a player on the flank, I mean, this would be a easy round to win. So they at least have somewhat an idea, as Frostyyy, I believe, does get taken out. At the same time as does find a kill. So 2 versus 3, Jintroid and SSaggioo. Player number 6 is actually getting ready to get an engagement and can't win it. That's a big loss there if you're in HollyDizz's perspective. A potential 1 versus 3 forced now to a 2 versus 2. However, Jintroid and SSaggioo left to try and retake the bomb site, flanking their way through Coal Room. And Ryswan is not watching the flank, but just as I say that, getting ready to get in a close and up close perspective, a fight that isn't going to go his way. Jintroid needs to win this one, and if you're aHTracT, you're just trying to sprint out of this engagement. But Jintroid doesn't challenge. He's trying to act as if he's going for the defuse. And what does aHTracT do in this scenario? Does he go for the challenge? And he gets great timing. Jintroid doesn't spot him, and yes, this map will close out as we see the boys on PureTalent win this one 6 rounds to 4, as they will force a map number 3 onto Arden Forest. As what exactly is the scoreline in here? It is 13-6 for Tarzan. Definitely, of course, kind of was 13-4 at one point, but just a fantastic play there coming in from Tarzan to kind of stay alive. But generally, it was the guys on PureTalent who were able to kind of weather the storm. They obviously realized the situation at hand, as it typically should. But whenever you do use that, it can kind of distract the enemy, because through mid-street, you can easily get to both bomb sites within a matter of moments. So, looks like the offensive team having second thoughts about making that rush toward B, but it looks like Frostyyy has not given up his interest, and for that, he will fall. Ryswan with that bar holding strong on Cabin. Is not easily shaken, and with that, SSaggioo and Jintroid. 2 versus 4, nearly make it a 2 versus 3, and if HollyDizz can try and stay up, isn't able to do so, but 2 players finding kills at the exact same time. A 2 versus 2. And both aHTracT and Ryswan are not in similar positions. Ryswan gets tagged up as well, and now a potential 2 versus 4 is in our midst. aHTracT is going to have to go big, and honestly, if you're in aHTracT's point of view, you realize where the kills came in from. No quick rush over toward B. You've got to imagine that they're going for the quick plant inside a cabin. Has the idea, gets the indicator, and now has to go for the rush. How does he retake this? Jintroid peeking out, and smart play from Jintroid. He's making aHTracT think that SSaggioo could peek out from cabin at any moment. Here comes the rush. aHTracT initializing the fights, as it will now work out a 2 versus 4. Comes in from the guys on WestR. And that was such an awkward scenario for them because I was talking about how, I believe it was Frosty, who just wasn't content with leaving that B bomb site. He wasn't content with leaving that one over in ruins. Tried to go for a last-second push. Doesn't work out for them. And now the two offensive guys, they find kills at the exact same time. A pinch. And honestly, if you're in a 2 versus 4, you've got to be imagining the last two guys are probably not looking in the same direction. So they try to go for 2 1 versus 1s. It doesn't work out. And just overall sloppy play if you are the guys from PureTalent. Cannot afford to be giving away rounds like that, especially in an elimination match like this here on the Forest. As 3 players drop, -1, last person alive, 1 versus 2. Does make it at least a little bit more in his favor. A easier potential. But that's about it. So with that, Frosty will pick up the expiring kill. As it is currently 2 rounds to 0. With who else? SSaggioo leading the way. As it will be Jintroid grabbing the bomb, and I believe making their way through middle. Smoke should be out. The nades, they barely dodge. And I like this early rush coming in from return. Doesn't have the bomb and gains a number of different kind of splices of information to give his team. No one kind of watching through that mid-cut as aHTracT is the last player alive. Granted, their teammates have fallen, but they find themselves in a man advantage and on offense. aHTracT does get the line side, and I'm not sure if SSaggioo realized he's there. Based on a return's point of view, you'd like to imagine that he also got that information. And so aHTracT playing the time. I like this kind of passive play from aHTracT. He can get to that bomb site pretty quickly, but unfortunately does reveal his position. Can't get the gunfight on that player holding on wood stacks there. And isn't able to find it in the end. But like I said, early rush coming in from WestR. I love the play from return, right? He quickly makes his way through that kind of mid-alley thanks to the smoke that obviously granted him a little bit of a disguise. Hops inside a cabin and no one is waiting there for him. And that's kind of, I want to say like a lack of, it's not really a lack of anything because that smoke could be either used as a bait, but the player who's holding back cabin has to be aware that he's literally the only person standing between a free bomb plant on A and obviously loses the fight, and things don't really go their way hints then. But speaking of things not going their way, quick 3 versus 4. However, Tarzan is able to even the man count out, as Tarzan had a stellar performance at map 2. I believe finished off 13-6, I want to say. Definitely the reason why London Docks looked pretty easy for these guys. And has to continue to play at a high rate. But SSaggioo and Jintroid, yet again, left in a 2 versus 2. And SSaggioo nearly catches the side. Definitely con timing coming at that point. Jintroid drops, and if you're in SSaggoo's perspective, keep in mind the streaks that he's nearly at. Goes for the challenge, finds one, gives the second as well. And granted, while the round doesn't go his team's favor, they lose the first round of map number 3. Rice1 isn't able to pick him up quick enough, so the streaks are earned. They're totally okay with losing that round, because why? In a 1 versus 3, earning streaks by finding 2 players, also picking off the bomb planter. SSaggioo says, thank you very much for those streaks. Thank you so much for that little bit of a boost as far as this game is considered. I mean, take your pick when it comes into certain maps, and would you give away a round to secure streaks? Kind of a question to be asking. I personally would definitely debate about it with my teammates. But, of course, SSaggioo waiting for those streaks to be able to call in. He's able to do so. So here comes the glide bomb. Probably, I'm curious, does aHTracT actually have Mountain on? No, he does not. Or actually does. Apologies. I thought for a second, thought I saw Airborne for a moment. But no, isn't able to find it. HollyDizz actually rocking the sniper rifle. Was actually able to cast over HollyDizz and Tarzan quite a bit heading into World War II on Call of Duty Ghost. And remember quite a bit of plays with HollyDizz and that sniper rifle. Definitely did the damage in prior Boots in the Ground titles, but with that, able to do the work necessary. As speaking about HollyDizz, finds one with the sniper and picks off the final one here on the Frosty. As we now find ourselves at 3 rounds to 2. Still in favor of the guys on WestR, but keeping in mind, SSaggioo ends up using a streak maybe grants a little bit of information, but at the same time, did it on an offensive round, so you can't really hate on him too much. But and anytime you do have streaks to work with, you'd like to imagine that you can win the round a lot of the time. But I believe HollyDizz either hops off that line set to throw the nade or might have spotted Jintroid. But has to be aware that a rush could be made from his ruins at any moment. And he's kind of baiting off the fact that that's such a high priority area that no one's going to rush through it, but Return says the opposite. And HollyDizz, a very risky situation. I mean, just a matter of a few inches, whether he kind of pushes forward or backs up, to him becoming first blood bait. If you're an offensive team, you'd like to imagine that if you have any moment to try and grab that, you'd absolutely do so. And HollyDizz is able to pick off Return for the first kill. So we talk about them trying to engage. HollyDizz nearly dies, goes for the re-engagement, and it works out in his way. But here come the streaks from SSaggioo. Back-to-back rounds calling in streaks. We'll see if this round can go his team's way. It is a 3-on-3. Jintroid, probably due to that information given, is able to take out Tarzan. And aHTracT is able to successfully get that bomb plant down. We'll see what he does with his teammate at his back. You got player number 6 as well, HollyDizz. Watching through mid with a sniper rifle. Is they've got to get through him first if they even want to try to attempt to get a push through. But here comes the flank. SSaggioo finds one. Jintroid finds the second. And just like that, the man who got the bomb down is left to solely defend it. 1 versus 2. Probably a bait and switch has to quickly be made. Picks off SSaggioo coming from the skies, but no, not able to do so. And it will be a round number 4 gain here from the boys on WestR. As SSaggioo grabs the defuse. Frosty, quite literally as his name suggests, I mean, it's basically the perfect map for him. Jumping from up top, they're pretty hyped about a round number 4 victory. And SSaggioo can kind of have a sigh of relief in that situation. Is able to use the streaks. And a successful round from it, but it looks like smoke's being tossed out, probably from Return. And we're going to watch player number 8 in this situation, Ryswan. He's very wary. You see, like, he immediately checks toward cabin just to be aware of the situation that happened prior, where Return has been so aggressive when they've tossed out that smoke. He's quickly been on the flank. But that time it's a different scenario. Return nearly finds 2. And our Ryswan gets picked off. Why? Because he's one shot. SSaggioo says, thank you very much, Return, for putting in the first 3 bullets. I'll take the last one. And now aHTracT on defense is left to try and pick off the final 3 players. One that can't be found. As 5 rounds to 2. Frosty and co from WestR playing incredibly sound right now. And I love that round when it comes into offense because they realize the rounds that have kind of made an impact on the enemy's minds because they toss out that smoke. In similar situations, we saw that in one of the first 2 rounds, we saw Return. Once the smoke goes out, he quickly makes that rush into cabin. And I believe, I can't remember who it was for the opposite team. I want to say it was Ryswan, who normally holds on A. It's like, I'm not about to make this mistake again. So as he does that, you see them just totally kind of freeze a little bit. They're just like, okay, what's happening exactly? Because they're not playing the same way that they did last time. So they're kind of trying to get a hold on what's happening in the round. Before they can even do that, they're walking into the enemy's line sites because of how nervous they think the round's going to go. But Frosty, up close and personal, has now left aHTracT by himself. 1 versus 2 for the series. aHTracT isn't able to take him out, and oh my goodness, an unfortunate way to be sent out of a tournament as Jintroid. The nice turn on there to aHTracT as they win this one 6 rounds to 2 with an exclamation point on top. As that one hurts to see. Definitely hurts to see Jintroid there. Finishing off 6 and 4 in total, but definitely probably the most impressive kill of the entire match. But look at the top there. SSaggioo finishing off 11 and 4. Had 9 kills in the first map. Obviously finished off with 11 in the second one. Definitely a player that you have to be looking out for when it comes down to these guys' victories on WestR. Is based off his performance. A lot of the time is how they do. But we talk about Tarzan. Drops 13 kills on London Docks. You like to imagine as well, speaking about players who kind of make an impact for a certain roster. I mean, if be totally honest, right? Or being totally honest. If Tarzan doesn't have an all-star performance, finishing off 13 and 6 on map number 2, I mean, how much closer is London Docks? Because they only win that one in round 10. They win that one 6 rounds to 4. So only a 2-round difference comes into play after a player dropping literally 13 kills. So with that kind of coming into mind, maybe if Tarzan has a little bit of a slower game on London Docks, he doesn't find as many first bloods, maybe this could have been a hot 2-0 from WestR. Maybe this would have been a lot closer of a London Docks, one that maybe was 6-4 in their favor, based off of what normalcy is considered when it comes into search and destroy. But regardless, WestR able to lock this one down. I loved a lot of their offensive pushes when it came down to kind of rushing toward cabin side. We talked about those smokes that get tossed out through mid-street. They utilize their smokes very well when it came down to offense because, like I said, when it comes down to Arden Forest, tossing that smoke through mid-street, I mean, it's just a perfect seal for a lot of the enemies, and I'm sure a lot of defensive teams probably wished, that a lot of the, kind of weapon attachments, kind of back in the day for the jetpack culverties were maybe even utilized, as you can't really see through the smokes anymore. You don't really have opportunities to kind of use those optical sights. So with that in mind, the smokes are honestly probably the best tactical to use when it comes to Arden Forest, especially in Search and Destroy, just because of the fact that it totally masks your position as to what bomb site you're going to. And if you toss them correctly, I mean, basically the defensive team isn't really going to make it past that kind of tank side. I mean, probably the farthest you're going to see a player push up maybe is toward that first barrel, who maybe has a sniper rifle, maybe previously had an FG, maybe now has a bar. But due to tossing that smoke out, you're going to kind of force the defensive team back. That allows the offensive team to have a lot more wiggle room, which means they can kind of force their way into ruins. They can kind of force their way into cabin. And a lot of times, you're not going to see a whole lot of defensive players stacked inside a cabin. So that's what we were seeing a lot of the time from, I believe it was Ryswan, who was constantly holding on cabin on A, was that he didn't have anyone there with him. So as the call-out comes in with the smoke, he's like, okay, I'm still going to pre-aim in forest. He obviously makes the big mistake, of course, of not checking inside a cabin, where I believe it was Return who was able to drop him for the first blood. That opens up the site. They get a bomb down. They win the round pretty easily. Next round kind of comes into play. We see the game kind of progress on. Obviously, a lead is granted for WestR just because of their smart, kind of play, winning 3v2s, et cetera, et cetera. Comes down to one of the last offensive rounds. They do the exact same thing. Instead of Return making that a quick rush, he waits passively. And due to him waiting passively, that opens up Forest because why? Ryswan's totally aware that, hey, I know what this play is like. I know what they do in this particular round. As he kind of checks inside a cabin, I believe a first blood goes the opposite way, so that obviously